Broncos country, hope you all are having a wonderful day. I apologize. I'm a little late to this, but I needed to get on and talk about Ted McMillan, man. I'm out on this guy. I don't want him to be the Denver Broncos first round pick. And today I'm going to outline why I do not want this to happen. So, y'all let me know your thoughts in the comments. I mean, I think that this is a fairly hot take because he is still ranked as the top one, two, maybe three receiver in this year's NFL draft. But there are a few different reasons why the Broncos cannot afford to use a first round pick on Ted McMillan. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Okay. The first thing, well, let me pull up PFF's little big board here so you can get an idea of who Ted McMillan is, right? Because, yeah, I want to do somewhat of an overview of him. We're not going to go into any film today, but as you can see right here with the first look, incredibly, gifted physically. 6'5", 212 pounds junior. He'll be 22 when the season starts. Reading the bottom line here from PFF, McMillan has all pro potential because of his length, athleticism, and football intelligence. He's a smooth criminal of a receiver. Interesting. Who was the focal point of Arizona's offense. He is a unique talent who deserves to be considered in the top 10 of the 2025 NFL draft. And they still have Ted McMillan, PFF does, as their top receiver on the board. For some reason, Travis Hunter, who won the Bolitnikoff Award for the best receiver in college football, isn't included on this list. No doubt he is the number one wide receiver and cornerback in this year's draft. I think at most I would put Ted McMillan at number 2, but I ain't even going to do that. When you get into what a lot of draft experts have said about him, this is the one thing that I do not like is that he likely will not be a consistent separator versus single coverage. He did look better in 2024. At least that's what they say. But a guy that I really respect from PFF, Connor Rogers, does some stuff with NBC as well. He comped Ted McMillan to Courtland Sutton, which is interesting. I love Courtland Sutton. I would not have ever suggested spending a first-round pick on Courtland Sutton when he came out from SMU either. I think what the Broncos need right now, if you're going to spend a first-round pick on a wide receiver, they need to be somebody that is incredibly gifted at getting open. Because, again, you are going to be the number one option. If we're drafting a wide receiver in the first round, that's because we're expecting you to be that number one wide receiver. I do not like the fact that he is not an elite separator from college coming out here. And I will say this might not be fair to some of the other receivers here, or maybe even fair to Ted McMillan. But another reason that I do not like him with a first-round draft pick for the Broncos is because when you're 6'5", 212, yeah, I'm going to grade you a little bit more harshly. And I don't think he was as good as he should be with his size and length. I don't think he's fast enough. I don't like the fact that, or I won't say that I don't think he's fast enough, but I don't like the fact that he didn't run the 40. It is what it is. I guess he's got decent speed, but again, Courtland Sutton has decent speed. I wouldn't spend a first-round pick on Courtland Sutton as much as I love Courtland Sutton. It's nothing personal. But then when you also take a look at what he did in college, like average depth of target, they threw downfield quite a bit, 13.7. And contested catch rate is good at 60%. Travis Hunter's is much higher. I believe it was one of the leaders in college football this year, but it is what it is. One of the things that I also didn't really like was, yards after reception at 5.1. This is kind of middle of the road when it comes to draft eligible receivers, which I find very, very interesting. Even when you're adjusting for making sure you're getting like a minimum amount of targets here, you got guys like Kyle Williams ahead of him, Emeka Egbuka way above him. Of course, guys like Restrepo, a little bit quicker. Tez Johnson, LeJontay Wester, of course. But yeah, there's also some other guys that would profile to be an X at Jack Bash ahead of him, Ricky White. I think Tet McMillan you're seeing here around 31, which is again respectable, but I don't think it warrants a top 10 overall pick, and I don't think that for what the Broncos need, that makes sense picking a player like this at 20 for what we already have. And lastly, kind of what I want to get to is, you guys have probably seen this clip already. But yeah, shout out to Stu and the Stew on YouTube. I don't think I have the audio working for this, but basically he's, saying, I don't like watching film and I don't do it outside of my team meetings because we go over it as a position group. Let me go ahead and reshare this to make sure that y'all get the audio on it. I suppose that would be a good thing. Sorry guys, I don't normally edit these live. Share audio tab. Okay, so let's do this and see what you guys have to say.
Well, you know what? You don't watch football at all.
At all.
Is it hard to watch film then if you don't like watching football?
Yeah.
For real? That's crazy.
I don't like watching film either. I don't ever need to watch it by myself because we go over as a receiver group.
I don't like that, man. And while you can get away with that in college quite a bit, the NFL is a whole other monster. And this is what I'll say. I don't think Tet's a bad guy. Like I think he's a good kid. But if you're using a first round pick on a guy, he needs to be absolutely obsessed with football. You can't risk using a first round pick on guys where their love of the game is kind of meh or brought into question. I didn't like his energy with that, where he said, I don't like watching football. The interviewer said, you don't like watching football? And he said, at all. At all. And then he said, I hate watching film. We just go over it as a positioning group. Again, with what this tweet said too, credit to John for putting this up, Payton Nix era. Sean Payton publicly recognized Bo Nix for having football stuff in his gym bag during a pre-draft meeting. I don't really see a guy that doesn't watch tape being a culture fit for the Broncos. Absolutely. When we were drafting guys that did not have love for the game, that was our worst era throughout my existence, or maybe throughout the entire history of Denver Broncos football since Pat Bowlen owned the team. That was done under John Elway. I love John Elway, but post Manning, man, it was tough. Paxton Lynch did not have a love for the game. We drafted a handful of other guys that did not have a true love for the game. Trying to remember that guy that we drafted from Louisiana Tech. He never even played a snap for us. Third-round wide receiver. When you're using a first-round pick with where we're at right now, still 7 picks, that's great. But still, you got to make sure you're hitting on them, and you have to make sure you're hitting on the top pick. So while this might be Tet McMillan might be another pick for, a team that is a little bit more comfortable taking a risk. Maybe they have 10, 11 picks. Fine. Do that in the first round. But the Broncos can afford to draft guys at 20 overall that aren't insane about football. And you might say, well, Davey's just a wide receiver. That's fair. Do you play crazy then on the field? Are you a madman on the field? Tet, again, for his size, I think he plays a little bit too timid for what I would expect from somebody being talked about as a top 10, top 15 overall pick with his physical attributes. That's just me. Now, ScoBuffs22, friend in the Discord, y'all join it, links in the description. He brought up, well, if he fell to 51, would you take him there? With a second-round pick, I'm much more comfortable taking calculated risks on guys like that have a perceived high upside. But normally I feel like if you don't love the game and you're not playing with your hair on fire when game time starts, the likelihood of you being successful in the NFL, it's not very likely. So y'all let me know your thoughts on this. Am I a little too harsh on Tet McMillan? Nah, go Broncos.